Hey, I wrote down 20 reasons why I think that modern day relationships are failing. So just hear me out, man. If you like the video, like it. If you want to comment, leave a comment. No trust is number one. Like, how are you going to be in a relationship if you don't trust the person? Like, that don't make sense, right? Number two, I'm sorry. No space. Like, when you're in a relationship with people, y'all gotta know how to give each other space so you could come back and want to miss each other, and things like that. Number three, I would say selfishness. A lot of people are selfish, but be in relationships. Like, that don't make sense, And number four, I wrote down insecurities. If you have insecurities within yourself, then 9 times out of 10, you're gonna pass that on to the next person, and you don't need to be in a relationship. So insecurities is a big reason that I think a lot of people's relationships fail. A lot of this stuff is simple that I wrote down, but it's real to me. Number 5 is entitled, being too entitled. Like, it's impossible to be in relationships and thrive if one person is more entitled or feels like they're more entitled than the next person. Like, that don't make sense. And number 6, I wrote down projecting. Like, a lot of people project. Stop projecting things on your mate. Sometimes you can be wrong. A lot of people project nowadays. Number 7, this is obvious. But like I said, a lot of this stuff is obvious. But I don't think we really pay attention to it. Cheating. Don't cheat. If you feel like you gotta cheat on somebody, just don't be with them. And don't call this a relationship. Like, come on now, that's common sense. And number 8, honesty. If you feel like you can't be honest with a person, it's only so far that you're gonna go with that person. Number 9, loyalty. If you don't feel like you can want to be loyal to a person, or you don't feel like you can be loyal to that person, don't think that your relationship is going anywhere. Loyalty can take a relationship real far. A lot of relationships go down because of that, because there's no loyalty. So, number 10, I wrote down forgiveness. Nothing's perfect every time. So people get into things, right? So if you really mess with that person, and the person really, change or make attempts to change or things like that, then you should be able to forgive them, a lot of people will be with people who they made mistakes and they feel like they can't forgive them. So why is you, of course it's going to fail if you don't have forgiveness. And number 11, I wrote down healing old wounds. Like, you don't take your problems into another relationship like that. Like, a lot of people will get into multiple relationships with old wounds. Like, that's not fair to the next person. And, that can cause the relationship to fail sometimes. Number 12, I wrote down communication. If you can't communicate with your partner and make things clear, then you have no relationship, because things are going to get confusing sometimes. So if you can't communicate, then it's a wrap. And number 13, I wrote down same interests. It's like it's very important that if you with a person, and this one kind of connect with this one that I'm gonna say after this one, but you had to have the same interests besides, which is number 14. I'm gonna just go ahead and say 14 now. Lust. Because a lot of people would be in relationships and they're just lust over one another, and they're not interested in the same things. They don't have anything else in common. It's just about lust. So I did basically 13 and 14 at the same time. So, lust. I'm gonna talk about lust. Like, if you just with a person and you lusting over them, like, that's cool, but how far you think that's gonna go? Because you'll be lusting over another person before you know it. So, you must have these other things in place. All this stuff go together. Number 15, progression. Like, if you don't feel like you progressing with a person and y'all just stuck, then 9 times out of 10, your relationship is gonna fail. Y'all must get up and feel like you're in a progressive situation. Like, we want progressive relationships, not stale and stagnant relationships. So if you're not progressing, if you in a situation you don't feel like it's going nowhere, check all the other things. If not, then I don't know. And then number 16, I wrote down no goals. A lot of people would be with each other. Like I said, this ties in with 15, and they have no goals or feel like they progressing together. You must have relationship goals. It must be things that as a couple or whatever, y'all got goals for each other together. Instead, we all got our separate goals, but as a relationship, y'all supposed to have goals that y'all setting and trying to get to. So, number 17, respect. This is very important because respect can take anybody a long way. So if you with a person, you don't respect them, you in a relationship with them and you don't respect them, that's you're bound for failure. Why be with a person that you don't respect? It don't make no sense at all. So you bound for failure. Number 18, no fun. If you don't have fun with each other, then what's the point? It's gonna fail. Like, So number 19, accountability. A lot of people, do things and mess up in situations and stuff, and they don't want to take no accountability. If you can't do something, like if when you mess up in a relationship or whatever, you can't take accountability, then, it's gonna fail. And the last one, I say this for last because it's last but not least. I think this is the most important one, and it's self-love. Like, if you don't got if you don't got no love for yourself, then you really don't know how to love nobody else. That's like, that's like the beginning, like the beginning stages. So you can always tell, like, if you love yourself and you love yourself properly, not just saying I love myself, then you most definitely should know how to, share love and love someone else. So don't get in a relationship and you don't even love yourself, because you're going to depend on the next person to do more than they should have to do. So self-love is the number one reason, but I wrote it number 20. But to me, that a lot of modern day relationships fail. If you don't really got a love for yourself, you should be single until you find it. So, it's good. You can talk to other people, but before you get in a relationship with someone else and you sharing, y'all sharing y'all lives together, make sure that you love yourself so you won't have to put more pressure on your partner to do more than they have to or should have to do. Everything can just come together, you know. So, yeah, tell me what you think. You know, if I missed something, you know, let me know. You know, I just went with this list. Actually, I just went with this list. Just, you know, just some things that was just off the top that I can see and think about. You know, I might have missed some things, but yeah. So, yeah. If you like the video, hit the like. You know, if you want to subscribe, hit subscribe.